And I think that we are good to go. 1 2 1 2. Welcome again to the O.M.G podcast number 4. I am actually trying a different setup from my normal, or from the previous to my normal. Like, I've done hundreds and hundreds of podcasts from my norm as this freaking plane goes by. I just tried a different setup that might be a little bit easier for me, using a Tascam connection. Anyway, let me show you guys. I don't want to bore you with that nonsense. This week, what will I be knocking down? I'll be talking about some Marvel MCU thoughts, some DCEeeeU, whatever. I don't know why they put the E in there. The same rigmarole and funny style stuff that's going on with Warner Brothers. Kingsman, the sequel, the trailer, The Golden Circle. My thoughts on that. And giving my theory on the Creed sequel that they're buzzing about with Stallone. Maybe I'll just start with that. As you may or may not have already been informed, Sylvester Stallone tweeted a few weeks ago about the possibility of a Creed sequel, and the photo had the character of Ivan Drago, that was played by Dolph Lundgren. I'm getting like this weird pop. Okay, it's gone now. And so he tweeted, a Photoshop mock-up or whatever. Or no, I don't think it was a Photoshop thing. I just think it was a still from Rocky IV, regarding Drago and I think I didn't see the tweets. I'm going to be honest, I didn't see the photo, but I think people were speculating, if he's going to do a son of Drago type of deal, with the Ivan Drago character coming back. I personally think that would be a shitty way to go. It becomes very campy. Okay, I'm looking at it online now. I think the photo has Ivan Drago with Adonis Creed in the photo. I'm just really trying to get the actual, because people create memes and crap like that, and then find that I'm wrong. He posted it on Instagram, so let's see the Instagram. Yeah, okay, I was right. It was an image of from Rocky IV. So now I've officially seen it. Anyhow, I think that if they did do a son of Creed storyline, it would be stupid. I also found out that they wanted Mr. T's Clubber Lang to be in Creed, and I guess over financial issues or whatever, he turned it down. Whatever, I think that would have been a little bit too much to introduce that character, just in my opinion. But if they if Stallone, who supposedly is either writing the treatment and the script, and is supposed to, is having meetings or sitting down with Ryan Coogler, who's tied up with the Black Panther right now, if somehow they ended up going with that storyline, I would take a powder and take a pass. As I said, it makes it campy. Because then what? Then you're going to finally get Mr. T, and then you're going to have the fucking son of Clubber Lang. Anyway, I just think that for starters, we already saw Rocky defeat Drago. So there's no sense in seeing that whole thing go down again with his son. Of course, I do understand the motivations of it, but it was just cheesy, especially the way that they left off the first Creed, which it seemed as if he was working his way up to a title match with that guy, the character they had in the beginning. I'm not recalling the name, but anyway, yeah, it seems like the dude that he beat in the first Creed, I thought they were basically going to set that up so that the second one, if they were going to do the sequel, would be, all right, now he's got to face off with that other contender. I think I want to say that guy has a championship title, was a champ. But if they were to, if they're going to get Dolph Lundgren and bring back the Drago idea, I think that if they were to create a theme of the film, which is based on forgiveness and closure, if he could, really pull that off as a writer and do that, still, as I'm talking about Stallone, or both of them rather, I think that, based on how it's done, they could probably end up back at the Oscars again. That would be funny if fucking Dolph Lundgren is nominated. It'd be hilarious. Because just my outlook on Rocky IV, if you think about it, a lot of the times Ivan Drago didn't do much talking. His handlers, Brigitte Nielsen and his manager, the Malachi brother. You got to look that up. That's an inside joke. You guys gonna have to check that out. The Malachi brother, the manager, was like doing all the talking. And if you also remember, there were scenes during those montages where it's, they were alluding to Drago taking, steroids or quote unquote enhancement drugs throughout the training sessions, that of course were making him stronger or, robotic or just tough as balls. So, with that in mind and that being, part of the backstory of Drago, if, you're going into this Creed storyline, you would, you'd have a sense of compassion if you understood, hey, look, I was a young kid, I was young and dumb, I was being, controlled and mishandled, and I was on roids, and it was making me do all kinds of stuff, and you find out that Drago still carries that burden, of actually, killing Apollo in the ring. It's, it never sat right with him, and as he grew older, it just kept wearing on him. And if you had like a side story of him, then this is all coming from me, so if you see some shit like this from Hollywood, it ain't no fuck that, great minds think alike. That means somebody heard this bitch and took it. And let's just say Drago, was training, sometime in his past. He was training a Russian fighter, and they had a falling out. Maybe he caught the kid using steroids or whatever, and, something from his past that he didn't agree with. And, the kid, they parted ways, but he knew that, this fighter that he was training was, tough as nails fucking fighter. And he's coming up along the ranks along with, with Adonis. And, you could start the sequel up with him, getting a couple of wins. None of this fixed shit like they did in, Rocky 3 and all that. You maybe show him win 2 fights. Do some little montage of him training. He, beat up 2 guys or 3 guys in some sort of a, I don't want to see that montage they did with Rocky 3 with him just beating guys and beating guys and beating guys and newspaper flash and beating guys. No, show him train, beating, go through a couple of rounds, he wins. Then maybe the next one's a TKO or some shit, but you see that he's growing. And the next opponent, next to fighting that champ is this Russian kid, and maybe, Rocky might have his reservations, whatever. And somehow, throughout the storyline, Ivan Drago shows up, or he's, been reaching out. Oh, it'd be funny is because Rocky is kind of antiquated. Like he didn't know what texting and shit like that was. It'd be interesting if he got like a text or an email. You see him going through email, catching up in the technology, and somehow he gets, some correspondence from Ivan Drago, and he's thinking it's a joke or whatever. And they end up talking, and, he's telling him, his burden, whatever. And then he gets down to the point that, hey, listen, I know that you're training Adonis, and this kid, I used to train him, and, I know his style, I know his background, he's tough as nails, I'm here if you guys need anything, you want my advice, whatever. Maybe Rocky tells him, we'll think about it. And eventually, maybe they're training the gym and Drago shows up. And then he, somehow, let's say like, there's a call and Rocky has to take the call, and What's-Her-Face is sparring, and Drago gives him some tips on the low, and the kid takes it, Adonis takes it and it's like, hey man, thanks. And then, as the story will progress, Adonis will of course learn that this is Ivan Drago, who'll have his reservations, he will be pissed, and Drago, he'll, reject him, will not want him on the team to train, and of course, they will eventually have a sit down, he'll understand, they'll break bread and make peace, and he'll find out it was an accident. And, like I said, more of a forgiveness and closure type of deal. And, all the while Drago is ushering in this new form of training that Adonis isn't used to, and he's using the fact that I don't know if I can trust this guy. He had my pops killed and all this other nonsense, just, things that you can quite understand, based on the past. But you can also understand that, he hasn't really been put under this level of training, where, even Rocky tells him, like, look, if this guy comes on, if you thought I was tough, then he's going to bust your ass 20-fold, because, their training style is different, their thinking is different, they're more structured, way more disciplined than, we Americans are, because we're fascinated with texting and Facebooking and whatever. And this is all before, like, Adonis realizes who he is. So then, they, end up, we go back to what I was saying, I digress a little bit. They train, he sees his heart, he finds his Drago, they, have this forgiveness thing, he sees closure, and then he goes to fight the Russian, and, now you see Stallone, along with Drago, in the corner, and they're both, training him, and and at the end, of it all, of course he wins. I think that would be more of a realistic storyline than going with some cookie cutter, you kill my dad, martial arts type shit. If this was like a cop movie, maybe I'd say, go for that. But, we're talking boxing here, folks. We're talking boxing. So that's my take on that. What are your thoughts? We'd like to know. I'm actually surprised that Coogler is just letting Stallone take the helm, just do the screenplay on this whole thing, or, whatever's going on. But, I mean, look, the man did fucking single-handedly build this franchise up, and this is just an offshoot. This is a spawning off, of his franchise. So, the one thing that I cannot deny Stallone, and it's a question that I'm really surprised that I've never seen anyone ask him, is, did he know when he was writing Rocky, the first film, and continued on writing these films, that they would have such inspirational power that they would be used in a lot of these motivational videos and audio files that you find online, that you can see on YouTube, and photos and quotes and stuff like that, if he had any idea, because if there's one thing that he can do well when it comes to writing that character, is really really inspire. So either way, I just hope that it goes well. I hope that they can start filming in next year, 2018, because I believe that Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are doing another film about the testing, high school testing, or the SAT exams or some shit like that happened in Atlanta, cheating scandal. So I don't know if they're gonna rush to do that first, or I guess he optioned the rights or whatever. I don't want to get too deep into Hollywood shit that I'm not really specific on. So I'll just transition into the Kingsman, the Golden Circle. Yeah, the trailer looks pretty freaking good. The trailer looks cool, looks flashy. But of course, my typical pet peeve is the concept of Hollywood rushing. I probably would have gone with the U.S., which is the United States, or the U.S., the Statesmen, or whatever their names are. I'm sorry. The Statesman squad, I probably would have held that off until the third one, or possibly a fourth one. And this is all based on the success of each film. So I probably would have held off on that one to the third one. I would have liked to see Eggsy do at least one mission by himself, kind of like a junior James Bond. He can just take on one adventure completely by himself, or, and having that young lady by his side, her character, the younger one, that made it into the Kingsman unit as well. I have a hunch that the Harry character, Colin Firth's character, is actually dead, and that he's probably like a virtual character. I know it sounds like a long shot, but I think that he's a virtual character, and the concept of having the patch on is to maybe fuck with the viewer, because if he doesn't have the patch on, then people are going to say, yo, he's supposed to be dead, and blah 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 blah. But to fuck with us a little bit, or based off how they found him was how they were able to make up the virtual character. The reason why I'm saying this is because he's not really in the scenes with the Statesman. When you see him, if you look at the trailer again, it's just Harry and Eggsy on this adventure, and the adventure to me kind of looks like, like a training ground, a la like the X-Men's Danger Room. I think there are like two scenes that they show in the trailer where you see him doing these, crazy things with Harry, and it just feels like they're in some sort of a training room. And you don't see Harry interacting with Channing Tatum or Halle Berry. So, that's just, my guess. But overall, it looks cool. It's, for some weird reason, when I see Channing Tatum now, in this sort of capacity, I keep thinking about Gambit. I don't know why, but it is what it is. I only hope that it is as good, if not better, than the first one. And I find it very interesting to see Julianne Moore play this villain. That's going to be very, very good. It would have been nice to see Halle Berry do that, because I can't recall her playing a villain. So she's always goody-goody, girl next door, or good guy. She's the face, as they say in wrestling, the baby face. So now we get to the grit and the grime, called the Warner Brothers / DCEeeeeU politics, that I believe that we are all so fascinated with. So now, the past few weeks, yeah, past few weeks, or past couple of weeks, I'll say, actually for a while, there's been rumblings about Ben Affleck. Will he stay on as Batman? Will he not stay on as Batman? Then it popped up by coincidence right around the time of Comic-Con. And I will say that Warner Brothers, they really need to get a grip on their marketing team and whoever's on their squad or staff that keeps breaking, this news. Ooh, wow, excuse me. Sorry about that if you heard that. Because a lot of shit comes out from their camp, and I don't really think that it makes their studio look good. But then again, I am the person that keeps saying that Warner Brothers is going to go under, and the way that they keep fucking around with this DCEeeeU world and sticking their nose in it, it's leading closer to it. I'm not sure if I mentioned this on the last podcast, but I'm going to mention it on this one. That and this goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about. I found out from the guys at Collider that Sony Pictures is a fucking huge possibility that they might go under. And then I Googled it, and there were articles earlier this year about how much money they burned, and that they needed to cut that deal with Marvel in order to reboot and refresh the Spider-Man franchise. And the word was that if they didn't, based off the failure or success, I'm leading into something, of the O.M.G film, that Sony was pretty much leaning on shutting down the branch of Sony Pictures. Now, Spider-Man's doing well, but it's not doing that well. And the O.M.G film just came out, and it flopped and fizzled. Oh, no. Actually, no. It did decent numbers because it's a kid's film. But as far as reviews go, not very well. And we're not sure if it's going to have legs. So, and it was mentioned that Spider-Man was supposed to do better, but because Sony effed up so many previous versions of it, and it has nothing to do with Andrew Garfield, in my opinion, and nothing to do with Tobey Maguire. Once again, it's just the writing, man. If you don't have your writing in fucking control from the beginning, it doesn't make any sense in even, starting to do anything, period. You shouldn't even pick up a fucking camera. But yeah, they've botched up so many of the, and so many is 3, because if you go all the way back to the last Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film, and then you go back to the 2 with Garfield, that, the lackluster interest somewhat in this Spider-Man could be very well affecting it, despite having the Marvel touch on it, although it's going to kick ass, in like the next, less than 90 days, because once they start, the window is now, it seems that they're slowly rolling that distribution window of 90-day. After the 90-day window of theatrical comes the VOD or the Blu-ray or whatever, but it's, it's coming to your home soon. And, excuse me. Do I have any? You weren't supposed to hear that. I was trying to reach for my glass to get some water, and my jar is empty. My cup isn't runneth over. It's empty. Anyway, I lost my train of thought trying to be fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's going to do well on VOD and yada, yada, yada. So, those numbers will pick up. I don't know, how far Sony is, as far as closing its doors. But the fact that they're mentioning all these, we're going to still do the Venom film, and we're going to do such and such, and once again it could be just talk, but let's keep our eyes out in the next year or so, because they won't be the first studio and they won't be the last. And as I transition back to my theory that Warner Brothers is going to soon shut its doors. I can't give you a day, time, or a date, but the way that they're fucking around with this DCEeeeeeU universe, by not just ushering in DC staff writers and just going, all right, look, we're fucking this up completely. What do you guys have in mind? Now, the Justice League trailer, the new one that they dropped around Comic-Con, that shit looks hot. I'm not gonna lie, I watched that shit about 3 or 4 times along with the Thor Ragnarok shit. That shit is, those fucking trailers, they kick some ass, man. I'm not gonna lie. That shit's got me in the previous trailer for Justice League. I thought was very good. And it just to me is I have to give Ben Affleck, tip my hat off again. I think he's going to be a really good fucking Batman. These guys, they need to just, they need to let him, whatever fucking bullshit's going on, they need to resolve it. Because, I think that he could actually be the best Batman. I wasn't big on the last guy. Can't remember his name right now. I liked Michael Keaton. I'm just talking about, I'm not going to get into the whole Batman fucking debate shit. Who was good, who was it? But yeah, based on what they're bringing in, as far as like Matt Reeves and the shit that he's been doing, cinematically, I think that if they keep Ben Affleck, he has a real probability of, probably being the best Batman that they will have to date. Now, the rumors are that, they may go with someone new, and I think that kind of fucks with, that whole Spider-Man theory I was saying. You messed up the past 3 films, and now you come up with a new one, and you want everybody to go rush to theater. You're fucking with the viewer now. Okay, it's not Ben Affleck. It's like if every time you saw a James Bond movie, James Bond just switched. It's Wesley Snipes. It's Daniel Craig. It's fucking Ebar Thawne. Whatever. It would just, it may or may not bother you. I think it might bother me because you can't really get a feel for the Bond character because it keeps switching. It's like, okay, now this guy's going to play it differently and this guy's interpretation is going to play it differently. I'm sure you get my drift and where I'm going with it. But the rumor is that when Matt Reeves was hired, he scrapped Ben Affleck and Jeff Johns, and this is a rumor, this is fact. He scrapped their script idea, which was supposed to include the Deathstroke character. And now Reeves, I guess, in his deal, he was able to negotiate, look, if I'm going to do it, we're going to do it my way, and we're killing this whole other concept off. And I want to go back to him being, Batman being this, greatest detective type of story arc. And I don't know how he sees that, at least in my brain. I don't know how they see that with a younger, Bruce Wayne / Batman, because if he's the greatest detective, that means he has to have years on him to fucking have earned that. And thus, Ben Affleck would be better suited to that, or someone more mature. If you're going younger and you're going to try to do a Batman Begins type of story arc, which I don't think he's going to, just having some young dude be the greatest detective, I just think that's just not a really good way to go. And I don't know, or I should say we don't know how young they're going. But I would like to stay with the premise of that they're going to keep Ben Affleck in this character, because if this Justice League, here's a great thought. If this Justice League puts him once again in or an even greater light, because he did steal Batman v Superman, in my opinion, and everyone's all in love with Gal Gadot, which is excellent. But I mean, if Ben Affleck comes off in fucking Justice League as well, there's going to be a lot of dick sucking. I can tell you that come the fucking November. Trust and believe. I'm crazy. But anyway, I did mention, Warner Brothers and, how they're handling, of course, the DCEeeeU, Ben Affleck. And here's the other shit that's annoying me, which I mentioned, them getting a grip on their staff and who's leaking these little things, because it makes them look a little retarded. Because one week, you get an announcement, oh yeah, Gotham Sirens film. And we know that everybody, from that studio, whoever said that, they were gassed up off of the Suicide Squad and, people wanting to see Harley Quinn. I didn't think that, and I mentioned this before, I didn't think that Margot Robbie, she wasn't horrible, but I just think I would have gone with someone else. I told you I would have gone with the actress from The Orange is the New Black completely. I think that, and I'll state it again, I think that if Margot Robbie does not do Harley Quinn, she's still going to eat, because she's really a hot property right now. If you're going with someone new as Cyborg, for fucking Justice League, and you're taking a chance on Jason Momoa, and I'm not saying that he's new, but he's been around for a while, but he hasn't had that one popular character, and you took a chance and went on that. And although I do have this, I'm kind of on the fence. I keep thinking Iron Man, Aquaman. That Aquaman is gonna be a dud, but then my mind keeps saying, wait a minute, James Wan is fucking doing it. Then I have to go, oh yeah, okay. But if you can give these guys that light, then I think you could have easily picked someone new to do Harley Quinn rather than just going with people. And I don't know if that was part of the Will Smith contract. In order to get me, you got to bring her in because we already worked on this film, and it was but that's just my long crazy hunch of a theory. I'm reaching anyway. So you got people gassed up off the Gotham Sirens, right? Then you come out with, now, oh wait, we're gonna do Harley Quinn versus the Joker. And I'm sure if they do go with that, within the next few months, you're going to start hearing, is Jared Leto still going to be the Joker? Because he was supposedly displeased that a lot of his shit got cut out and all this other things. So it's like, it always seems like there's something with Warner Brothers, doing fucked up shit that's fucking up the universe. At least with Marvel, you knew that they sat down with, their Marvelicious team and had fucking meetings about, all right, how we're going to plot this shit together. WB, I believe they just trusted Zack Snyder and just said, go ahead, kid, do your thing. And he kind of fucked it up, and I'm not, I am sorry for his loss in the family situation, but as far as the DCEeeeU, it is actually a feather in their cap, because they should easily, calmly transition him away from this universe, give him an EP title and let that be that, and just not have him involved in this universe anymore, period. And I'll just transition off of that. Then we got the Black Adam theory. The Rock is going to be Black Adam. That film is coming soon. Then there was the rumor of how it's not part of the DCEeeeU. It's going to be its own separate thing. Now you hear, oh wait, now we're working on Shazam film, and that's going to be the next one that's coming out. So I guess after Aquaman. So now you put the kibosh, or you're suppressing the Flash film because they still have yet to have locked in on a director. And I'm going to come back to that. And now you're jumping on the whole Shazam concept, and I guess within the next few months, we're going to hear, probably next few days, right after I'm, fucking stating this, you're going to start hearing rumblings of who should be Shazam. I'm personally going for John Cena because now, you should start having your heroes look like heroes. I know The Rock was going for what's homeboy's name? I fucking forgot. I just watched The Man from U.N.C.L.E. again, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I think he'd be better suited for the Green Lantern perfectly, in my opinion. Or if you're going to switch out Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, make him Bruce Wayne. Why can't I remember the dude's name? I see his face. Anyway, yeah, I'm going for John Cena, especially if you have a dude as big as The Rock, physically, going to be Black Adam, which that character is not going to be in Shazam. Supposedly, he's supposed to have his own film, which I think is dumb. I don't know why these studios are doing this whole villainous world, because at one point Sony was doing the Sinister Six. I don't think I'm very, interested in watching fucking villains do evil shit. And if you're trying to go for a Suicide Squad type vibe, we already saw how that shit kind of turned out. Box office wise, did the numbers because of curiosity. And that's the same way I feel about Wonder Woman. And I'm not shitting on that film. I did enjoy it. I had my little qualms about it. But I think when the sequel comes out, it will not do as big numbers. It's going to not play. This is not going to do what this first film is doing, because this shit is fucking kicking ass, man. Doing fucking like 1980s numbers. Like back in the day when those fucking films, would get re-released, and now they're talking about re-releasing Wonder Woman, and putting it in for Oscar contention. So yeah, but I think the curiosity and the fact that curiosity and animosity, not animosity. Let me rephrase that again. I'll probably edit that out. Curiosity and anxiousness, to see a female superhero on the screen. Women came out in droves. Comic book geeks came out in droves, and just the regular audience came out in droves. Just regular audience, just regular moviegoers came out in droves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times at it, throughout the summer, and it's still in the top 10. And I hope it goes back up. That's what I was wishing, because right now I think it's the number 10 spot, holding on to the number 10 spot. And I can't recall what's coming out this week, but if there's nothing strong, there's a probability it might jump back up, a notch or two, which would be great. But anyway, I digressed again. Back to Warner Brothers' ass. Then they mentioned fucking the Batgirl movie under Joss Whedon. Now, of course, that if we see this film, if there's going to be a film, let me rephrase that. If there's a chance that any of these films will see the light of day, I believe we will see the Batgirl film, because I'm sure they did a lot of dick sucking to get Joss Whedon on the team, and he had been doing some ghostwriting, I heard, for the Justice League, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did some ghostwriting for Wonder Woman as well. Not maybe on the script, but just on the conceptual storyline and the plot. Probably threw his hat in, for a little bit to get that, kind of fired up. But yeah, if there's any film that will probably jump off, it will probably be that film. As far as Shazam and Black Adam, I don't know. Who knows with these fucking WB dudes. Batman versus Deathstroke, of course, was the hot ticket with Ben Affleck directing. And now that switch with the whole Matt Reeves thing, it made me think about, poor fucking Joe Manganiello. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correctly, because he seems like the one actor that's continuously, or one of the actors that is continuously getting a fucking short end of the stick. I personally think that he should have been Superman. I think he would have been a great Superman, but somehow he lost out on that. And I think that he would have been a fucking dope ass Punisher. Not knocking old boy that's doing it now. Not knocking John. I just see John right now. I'm sorry. Damn, I'm spazzing all these names. From The Walking Dead, and he's really good in the Punisher. But I just think that Manganiello would have, yeah. Once you say Punisher and you think of Joe Manganiello, if you go, hey man, yo, guess who's going to be the Punisher? Joe Manganiello. Everybody was just like, oh, yeah, perfect. All right, that fits. When you heard that homeboy from Walking Dead was going to be it, at least in my opinion, I had to pause for a second and go, really? And then I had to think of Shane and go, well, he's got that gravitas as an actor, so, we're going to see what we're going to see. We knew what he could do, but I just think that when you think of the physicality, the look of these actors, and the look of the comic book characters, some of these guys aren't even trying to hit the gym. They're just like, yeah. Not knocking homeboy. I'm not knocking the middle. I'm just, if you think about what I'm talking about, you'll catch on. But yeah, so now, the whole Batman concept is completely changed. And I'm just naming this shit because it's just the wonky world of Warner Brothers and the DCEeeeeU, and the shit that they have, going on. And now they've stated that they're going with the Flashpoint storyline. Now, I honestly don't know if they already had that in mind based off what we saw in Batman versus Superman when you saw the Flash, in his scene reaching out to Bruce Wayne from the future. I don't know, but I know that whatever they do, that scene has to play out and it has to match. And if you have a fucking different Bruce Wayne, when you do that Flashpoint story, to me, it just looks bad, man. It just looks bad. But if they are doing that fucking Flashpoint, well, for starters, we just saw Flashpoint on the TV show The Flash. Whether you liked it or you didn't like it, I just think too soon. But then again, they can't even get this off can't even get the ball bouncing yet because they don't have a director. So probably by the end of the year, they probably will have a director. They're probably, Anyway, let me just transition out of that shit. By the time they start The Flash will probably be 2018, late 2018. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2019, but I'm going to say 2018, and maybe we'll see that film in 2019. So by the time the television show The Flash, they're going into their third season, their fourth season. So they'll be in their fifth season by the time we see this Flashpoint story, and we won't even be thinking about it. But my opinion is if this is the WB's shitty negotiation tactic or way of saying, fuck you, Ben Affleck, we're going to do the Flashpoint storyline in order to, do a lot, in order to make the changes, to justify the changes that we're going to do, if you're going to definitely bow out from being Batman, then I think that's dumb, because you're just doing it for one character rather than making amends and finding out, or just fucking saying Matt Reeves. Then again, look, I'm talking at the side of my ass as I usually do because it's just one person's opinion, but rather than saying Matt Reeves, we got to keep the continuity. Ben Affleck is our guy, I have so many thoughts in my head. I have a feeling that, WB might have just been so desperate just to get a fucking A-lister, to keep up with Marvel, and they go, all right, now that we have this hit with Wonder Woman, we saw how the whole film looks, and this is what happens when you give, these properties to an A-list, director, just like how Marvel's doing it. We need to jump on the ball and we need to just grab A-listers, and kind of how they got Joss Whedon in. He's an A-lister. He's fucking been to the dance with Marvel. He knows how that shit runs. So, that was a good steal for them. Matt Reeves, I'm not sure if they just said, fuck it, we'll give you the world. Whatever it is you want. We got an A-lister guy in our pocket. Whatever you want, we'll do. And that was one of his demands. Like, we want to go younger. We want to do this, with that. Time will tell. This shit is going to play out how it's going to play out. Changes are going to be made. The only thing I just want is just good fucking work, period. But when it comes to Warner Brothers, man, I only can rely on them for about a good 20%. So, it just is what it is. I could only state that, people should not be upset if Ben Affleck is leaving, because I believe that he's leaving for a very, very good reason. He probably sees, a lot of crazy shit, that we don't see because, we're on the outside that's going on. So, but hopefully, we're still fucking years out. They don't have a script yet. And, like I said, only time will tell, but I'm sure we'll be hearing more things once this Justice League film drops, because I wouldn't be surprised if studios, if the screenwriters are putting together 2 versions of a Batman, just story-wise, not script-wise, just story-wise, because like I said, if this fucking Justice League, if he steals this Justice League film, even though in the trailers it does look like, the Flash is stealing a lot of shit, because he's very fucking funny, which is what the Flash television show is fucking missing from his character, because he's not funny at all. His partner is fucking funny, Vibe. He's funny as fuck, but fucking Barry, it's like fucking melodramatic. Except for when it comes to fucking Iris, that she seems to be the only person that puts a smile on his face on the television show. Anyway, I want to transition away from the DCU, because it always seems like smoke and fire. John Bernthal, that's that fucker's name. Who's the Punisher? John Bernthal. Now, if I could only remember the guy from Uncle, it'll pop up. Anyway, I want to transition into the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they've created. And the buzz is all a rave about the Infinity War. And I did see a little bullshit copy of it, a little bit of it, and what I saw looked kind of cool. Like I said, it was bullshit. I heard nothing but good things about it, but I didn't really, gravitate to it because it was a bullshit cell phone crappy version of it. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to sweat this. I'll just wait. It'll be a few more weeks. It'll drop out before you know it. We'll all be looking at the trailer in high quality. But the Thor Ragnarok trailer, shit looks dope. And I haven't been very high on the Thor story arc. The first 2, although I did say that second one did remind me of what I feel that whole Phantom Menace, Anakin Skywalker journey should have been like. But, I'm not going to get into that now. Go back to the other shit. Go listen to the other ones. But they're entering the Phase 4 stage slowly at Marvel. And I would like to see a couple of things. And don't get, me wrong. I'm not a straight comic book sweaty or comic book junkie. I have read them from time to time. But I have been abreast of what's been going on, within the comics as compared to the films. I personally think that the Infinity War is going to change a lot of shit. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Captain America dies or something happens where his ass is gone. Iron Man. Put like this. I don't think that all these characters are going to die. I don't think Iron Man and Captain America both will die, per se, but something will put them, in a position where they're going to have to, sit on the bench for a while, basically. Although it would be nice if they had the Defenders in on it, but that's a whole other story. I do think that Nick Fury is going to bite the dust, and then they're going to reincarnate him in the Captain Marvel films. Of course, he'll still be dead, but remember, the Captain Marvel is taking place in the 90s for those that have not been, in the 80s. 80s or 90s, I think it's the 80s. Whatever. So you will see Nick Fury there. But I think in the present day, in the Infinity Wars, I think he's going to probably bite the dust if he's going to be in it. And I think that either based on the comic book storyline that I saw, I can't remember which one. I know it had to do with Captain America. I think that the Winter Soldier or Maria Hill will probably end up taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. There's also a comic book storyline where Maria Hill and Tony Stark are having this, secret affair. So I don't know. I highly doubt that that's going to be in Infinity War. But I just bring that up to see, if that's going to transition into the Phase 4 storyline that they have planned. I would like to see the Daredevil Spider-Man crossover, if they can pull that off, which would be just a cool, 5-part Netflix series that they can do. Fuck the theatrical, a 5-part Netflix series. And you bring in Tom Holland, yeah, I'm on some real actor fucking amnesia name today. Yeah, you bring in the actor who played Daredevil and Tom Holland, let them do that, Netflix spammo whammo for like next year and drop that shit like around Halloween or something like that. That'd be hot if they could pull that off. Or like, 2019. I think that would be, whew. Oh, wow. I just thought about it with the Kingpin still in jail too. Wow, man, that would be boss. If somehow they could put that story. I mean, look, I fucking doubt that they're going to do that because this is just the shit that would just be hot. And they're hot, but this is the shit that would just burn fucking buildings down. If somehow in the sequel to Spider-Man, they allege to Kingpin and they can put that fucking storyline together for Netflix where these two have to team up to fuck with Kingpin, that could be bananas. Yeah. I also found out about the Thor storyline and with Jane Foster, and I thought that is extremely fucking interesting. Jane Foster, who is played or was played, if they're not going to utilize her anymore, it's fucked up, by Natalie Portman. Jane Foster becomes Thor because Thor gets banished by Odin. Of course, being cocky, he gets banished and sent off. And before he does that, he has to pass on the Thor character, I'm going to say for right now. He had to pass over to Thor, and he decides to give it to Jane Foster. And Jane Foster is riddled with cancer. And that, from what I've seen, that fucking storyline, I think it would just be interesting just to see Natalie Portman take on that character. because people, forget how good she really is and can be, and she felt like she wasn't really, given enough in the Marvel universe. And I think that would be such a fucking good story arc, man, because, we can't forget what she did in V for fucking Vendetta, So, to have her do this, and to see her, even if she did like a Demi Moore, physical change and got in the gym and beefed up her body, or even better, did some fucking Tom Hanks type shit that he did for Castaway. If they could put that together where she would lose a shitload of weight, lose some weight, or just basically shoot her as she is now, because it's not like she's heavy set. She's a lean girl. Shoot those scenes with Jane Foster and Thor, first. And then every time she becomes Thor, you see a little bit of muscularity on her. So you shoot you shoot that stuff after. So as she's progressing to go to as she's going, so day one, you basically start filming with her, and she doesn't get into the gym until about 3 weeks into them filming, and then as she's progressing, so now you have, a number of scenes with her filmed as Jane Foster, and then you have her as Thor, and Thor, like Thor out, Thor, and now she's physically cut up. I think it would be fucking very interesting. It'd be a lot of fucking work, but I think it'd be hot. I think it'd just be a really good storyline, while Thor is sitting on the bench, and rather than having Odin cast him out, maybe something happens in Infinity Wars that puts him on the bench. Or maybe whatever happens in Infinity Wars, because from my memory, wasn't Odin asleep in the Dark World? Anyway, somehow maybe, Odin comes back, Odin gets pissed off at him, tells him maybe he should have minded his business doing Infinity Wars, he had no business doing that, or whatever, some shit happens anyway. As long as the Infinity Wars link up to Thor getting cast out and transitioning into, Jane Foster becoming Thor, I think that shit would be hot. I do think that Spider-Man's probably going to lead the Avengers somehow, take more of a leadership role with the Avengers. And it'd be awesome if it did consist of Jane Foster's Thor. I think that the Falcon is probably going to take over for Captain America, and also still be a part of the Avengers. I think it'll probably be Vision, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, War Machine. Then again, they might just kill off War Machine because he's kind of expendable. He doesn't have his own standalone, films, so I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I can say right now, because I don't know how heavy, I don't know all the characters that are going to be in this film, and I've been staying away from IMDb. I don't know if they have the characters listed or not. I don't want to see it. I'm just wondering if they're going to have the Adam, Adam, that character that we saw that was being created in the Guardians of the Galaxy, if he's going to be in the Infinity War, because he played a big part in the Infinity War. So I don't know how they're going to do that, if he's going to, but then again, it's supposed to be, well, at least at one point it was supposed to be broken up into 2 films. So, that could be a possibility. So, that is basically what I want to see right now. Oh yeah, and Black Panther. I'm sure Black Panther is going to be a part of the Avengers as well. I'm just trying to see. It said the crossover would be dope. Damn, I would really love to see that. But you know how these guys are, man. They think linearly. They don't think, you know, outside the box type shit sometimes. You know, so like I just, just the concept of you cross promote your television shows on the cinematic universe is only going to heighten the awareness of your television shows and bring more people to the television shows. You can't just assume that all Marvel heads are going to go and watch the television shows. You have a lot of people that probably cannot stand Daredevil, probably can't stand Luke Cage or Iron Fist or Jessica Jones. And if they saw them kick some really good ass in Infinity War, it could be something minor, It might lead them to go, oh shit, I gotta go back and go watch these fucking, Netflix films. Even though Daredevil's fucking far superior than all these other shows. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to get into that. Go back to the other podcasts and listen to my rants on that shit. Yeah, if you gave them really good shit to do in the Infinity Wars, they just had the really hot scenes. They did something that was really cool because I know he's bringing, I know Thanos is going to bring his army and that army is going to have dregs. So you just have those characters do something really dope, that is going to somehow transition to Netflix and those shows, or just even, just the Defenders Part 2. I say don't even do the second shit, even though I know they're doing it. If they could have held off doing the second season for Iron Fist and the second season for Luke Cage, unless it all has something to do with the Infinity War, Anyway, this is just my mind, man, just how I see shit. It would just be, dope if they were to go that way. Okay, I just popped in my Ant-Man as well. Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Avengers, the new Avengers are going to consist of, it's just my opinion, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Vision, Scarlet Witch, War Machine, Black Panther, and hopefully Jane Foster Thor, who will pop in. I don't know if, they're going to be a whole other team. I was going to say the Fantastic Four, because I know that somehow they're going to end up in the Marvel Universe. And I don't know why Sony's trying to front dropping all. We're going to do a Doctor Doom movie. Here's that, that's that fake smoke and mirror shit again. No one wants to see a fucking Doctor Doom movie, Fox people. That's just going to tank, and no one's going to trust you after you've already fucked up 3 Fantastic Four films. I don't give a fuck if Brad Pitt and George Clooney were Doctor Doom simultaneously with Justin Bieber. No one's going to see a Doctor Doom fucking movie, and no one's going to see a Fantastic Four movie with Fox, with complete Fox involvement and no Marvel involvement. That's it. That's my final word on that. So at a certain point in time, you're going to see these fucking rights start reverting over to Fox. I think you're slowly seeing it already, but it's just not being discussed. I think I might have mentioned this before, but I have a theory that Fox, I think that their licensing is running out on X-Men, and I know that they own a specific part of the licensing, and Marvel owns a specific part of the licensing when it comes to television and things of that nature. And I think, this is just my theory, the reason why they made these announcements, they're doing, I think, like three fucking X-Men related films, that are all supposed to drop within 2018 and 2019. The Dark Phoenix saga is one of them, which I believe they have already begun production on. And there are supposed to be 2 others. And then Fox went ahead with those X-Men related shows that they have running now. Legion and the new one that they just ran with Jamie Chung, who I'm always excited to see. I'm always rooting for her. So Or is that anyway? You guys will let me know which one it is. Whatever. I think that Fox, what they're doing is now that they know that the well's about to dry up, they're pulling all stops. So like, hey, we gotta fucking hurry up and get Logan out. So let James Mangold do his thing, leave him alone, because by fucking 2019 we're not gonna have these rights, or 2018 we're not gonna have these rights. So let's just get our fucking hats on. Let's get the Logan film out, 2017. Let's sign off on these other X-Men films, and let's just try to make as much fucking money as we can while we still have this licensing rights before it fucking runs out. Because once it goes over to Marvel, we're never seeing it again, and they're probably going to put a kibosh, like a 3-year kibosh on the X-Men. You know, Marvel will probably put a 3-year kibosh on the X-Men and concentrate on Phase 4 and then slowly roll them out and probably do a complete recast of the characters, all based on, you know, what's going to happen with the success of the Fox versions of all this. But don't be surprised. But yeah, I mean, just think about my crazy theory. Why would you roll out so many X-Men properties? You know, I know that I wouldn't want to have a Superman movie, a Superman TV show, a Superman cartoon all on at the same time. You know, even though I know that properties do that, you know, because they're money grubbing, you know, but I wouldn't want to water down my fucking franchise characters so fast. And the only theory that I can think of as to why all of a sudden they're just rushing to do that is because I think that Marvel's about to get the motherfucking licenses back. You know, and the same thing, you see the same thing with fucking the Fantastic Four. Oh yeah, we're doing a Doom movie. We're doing a Doctor Doom film. And such, he's writing another Fantastic Four film. Really? You really think? I don't give a fuck what comic book person's going to come in if they're not from Marvel. I don't think that's just really going to fly, because people, I think the comic book fans, those that are really in the know, are really like fed up with watching these side fucking projects, knowing that the Infinity War is coming and the Fantastic Four had some really, really important shit to do with the Infinity War, and Marvel, they don't have the fucking rights to that shit, and fucking the studio that has the rights to it keeps blowing smoke up people's asses by fucking these properties up. And Doctor Doom has something to do with that shit as well in the Infinity War, and you guys are holding this shit back after seeing what they just did for you with fucking or what they just did for Sony with Spider-Man, and you guys are being pricks because you don't want them to have the rights and outshine you. Those motherfucking rights are coming. So this just goes to my thing, and there's nothing that they can fucking do about it. So I just think, yeah, this is why you're hearing all this shit. You know, X-Men, 3 X-Men films, TV shows, two more but X-Men. We got to get all this shit out and milk this shit dry. And once we can get it out, especially on the TV side, we can get the TV side out, you know, we can get money off of the 5 seasons. If we have success with it, we can have them run for 5 seasons and make money off of it. Still, you know, while Marvel, you know, they do get a piece of that change when it comes to TV. It's probably a bigger chunk of, you know, of change from the TV deal, but we still can get a piece of the pie because it's on a Fox, and that can kind of keep us afloat until, you know, we create, you know, the next whatever, until we find the next, you know, or until, you know, we could find the next comic book property, because now it seems like they're starting to gun for some of the Image comic stuff, especially with McFarlane announcing he's going to direct his own Spawn for New Line Cinema, which is under Warner Brothers, you know. So, and also Fox is probably, you know, Deadpool basically is going to be the fucking LeBron or Michael Jordan right now, you know, within the next few years, if they continuously keep nailing it, if they just don't stick their noses in and just let these guys do what they need to do. You might even get Tim Miller back. But then again, I saw something last week where Tim Miller is optioning a lot of fucking comic book properties. So he's definitely about to be the name you fucking know, within the comic book genre, comic book cinematic genre. So, Deadpool is probably going to take the reins, for the Fox properties, and that's what's going to be holding them down until they can get, either some new comic book shit going on, or they can, after this whole X-Men thing, licensing issue dissolves and goes back to Marvel, and it's a motherfucking wrap, but they'll still be getting money off of TV. They'll still also be getting the DVD residuals or Blu-ray and VOD and all that shit. So they're basically, this theory's starting to sound more and more clear to me now. Wow. They'll be setting themselves up. So if you have, even if they did one X-Men film for next year, Dark Phoenix, and then they drop the other one either at the end of the year or 2 in 2019, they're stretching that out. That's if these are fucking hits. If they're bombs, they'll make moderate money, but that licensing, when that shit goes over to Fox, hasta la fucking vista. Now you can get the Avengers and X-Men hookup and all that other good shit. And that'll probably be, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that's already in the plans for fucking Phase 4, because that's how Marvel fucking rolls. They have these fucking in-depth table discussions, and they mind meld the fuck out of their shit, and they probably know, I'm sure they know when these fucking rights are getting ready to roll over, and a lot of shit they're being hush-hush on. Just like they were hush-hush on getting Spider-Man. They made sure that they rolled that out at the right time. So, some good things. A good time to be fucking into movies, man. I can tell you that fucking much. Ooh, if anybody's thinking about committing suicide and you love these motherfucking films, don't. Because there's a lot of good shit coming. Especially from the end of Marvel. But that Justice League fucking trailer, man. Oof. That's all I can say. Oof. I can only fucking hope. And then you getting Thor and Justice League in the same fucking month. Fuck a Christmas. That's a Thanksgiving present. Shit. I know I'm gonna fucking make 2 turkey sandwiches on fucking rye bread and mayo and sit my ass after a good workout. Go to the goddamn theater with them sandwiches and drink. Alright. That's it, man. I've done my spiel. I like this new setup. We'll see how it plays out. And I will see you guys on the next O.M.G podcast. For those that don't know, O.M.G represents one man gang because it is one man running his mouth on film, television, and all forms of mixed media. So, I'll bid you guys an adieu. And I think maybe on the next one, if I can pull it off, maybe on this one, by the time you hear this one, you might hear some theme music. I'm trying to, sit my ass down and create some music that will go along with this. So guys, I will say peace. I hope you enjoy this podcast or whatever it's going to be called or whatever. What am I going to title this? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm going to peace out. And I bid you guys and gals and ladies and gentlemen an adieu. Later, guys. Later.